is if you're actually knowledgeable in the field you're reacting to, it's all good. That's fair. I think it's fine if you just actually say shit and don't just fucking... Let me reenact an XQC stream. Do we have something that I can use? Oh yeah, we can just use this. So this is an XQC reaction stream. How do I... There you go. That's my impression. That also works for Hassan as well. Hassan he's able to speak English. XQC, not. Anyway, anyway, let's have a look at this. This popped up the other day. I wanted to check it out. Have you guys been paying attention to the PS4 emulation scene? Like how that's been going? Because it's gotten surprisingly good. Like, not perfectly playable yet, but like, from my understanding, we are maybe a year or so away from good emulation. Because we've broken the barrier of actually being able to play the games now. Now it's a matter of actually getting things playing well. I'm just a PS3 boy, but that'll be right. Well, I have a PS5 over here. That's my PS4 emulator. But being able to do it on PC would be nice. PS3 emulation is also coming along pretty well as well. It's playable, but the PS3 is also just an absolute disaster to emulate. It is... It's a nightmare of an architecture. Everything is slow. You can kind of emulate it on high-end hardware. It's getting, like, the level you need for PS3 emulation is coming down and down and down and down. So hopefully at some point that'll be, that'll actually be good. But at least from what I saw on Twitter, and I know Mudaha also saw this as well, Bloodborne's playable, not well, but let's take a look. Now, I'm sure all of you already know about Mudaha, so I don't exactly need to share the link, but here you go. If somehow you don't know who Mudaha is, there's the link to the video.
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and I'm excited for today's video because Bloodborne is finally running on the PC. Yeah,
I'm actually not a big fan. Okay, I'll say this before we go into anything else. I'm not actually a giant fan of Bloodborne, but people are so obsessed with having Bloodborne on PC. I've said this before. I don't know why Sony hasn't done something with the license. The only reason that nothing's been done with it, there has to be some sort of like weird like licensing situation where Sony has the license and From Software has it and maybe some other party has it. Maybe From Software lost the code base. I have no idea because it makes no sense why they've done nothing with Bloodborne. Just a straight re-release on PS5 would be massive. I don't know why they've not done it.
The footage you're looking at is actually running
let alone a
on
PC
my
release
computer right now, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it might not look perfect. It might look laggy. But you know, a month ago when I was
what is that, like 5
God,
FPS?
We finally saw a red screen, guys. We're making some progress.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Hell, we are making crazy progress because we're in-game, ladies and gentlemen. We are rendering 3 different dimensions. And that is just a start. You know, back in the day for PlayStation 3 emulation, one of the games that I was super excited for was MGS4. And I remember seeing the black screen.
The one game that I want to do on PS3 emulation is Drakengard 3. Pretty much every other game I want to play is on something else, but I want to play the Drakengard series, and I want to play Drakengard 3, and that PS3 is the only thing that thing is on.
Seeing the game try to
It's definitely on PC. Might be on Xbox. It's definitely on PC.
And crash a million times. I even streamed my hair-pulling process. And now, in today's day and age, you can actually play through all of Metal Gear Solid 4 at 60 frames per second right here.
On high-end hardware.
It's crazy how quickly these things develop.
If you are playing it on Linux, there are some tweaks you need to make, especially if you're on Arch. On Arch, actually, I think they've modified it. Wait, I think they modified it because of the Steam Deck. But there was some like weird paging issues where I think it was the page limit was way too low for the PS3 emulation, and it just dies. GTA 5 runs on PS3, roughly 18-year-old console. Wait, when did GTA 5 release? Because I don't think GTA 5's... No, GTA 5 didn't come out near the release of the PS3, did it? How... it's got like,
Once
what, 12 years?
Initial bomb sets
Something
off,
like
that
that?
little thing, it starts a powder
2013, 11...
that leads to what we're about to look at. Now, I'm going to just rip right in here. This is Shad PS4. Now, we've looked at Shad PS4 before.
Not that... For anyone who knows the name Shad, not the other Shad. I will explain... If you do not know who Shad is, I will explain no further. But not the other Shad.
And, of course, if you go to their website... They're pretty much selling the fact that Bloodborne progress is being
I have been on the internet a long time.
If doesn't care about Bloodborne ending up on PC, well, leave it to the PC community to be developing. This stuff has basically been going viral in the emulation sphere, and I've been watching it very closely.
Hey, what up?
So
How you
what
doing?
we've done is we went to Shad PS4, and there's actually a specific branch where somebody's working on it, making specific hacks for Bloodborne. So, aside from the main...
No one even cares about anything else being emulated on the PS4. The only thing... Like, people only care about Bloodborne. Like, what other PS4 game does anybody want actually emulated that people actually care about? Because anytime I hear about PS4 emulation, it's always Bloodborne.
This is in the BB Hacks repository. So if you want to get your hands on this, you can download this repo and build it for Windows,
I wouldn't say
Linux, and I believe
steps
Mac
into
as well.
playable.
I'm personally using this underneath Windows right now. That's where I'm at. But yeah, this exists, and you can actually get this and download.
Is there a Linux build?
If you have the disc copy of what appears to be Bloodborne, specifically I would say the Game of the Year edition, and I think that's like 1.09, basically the most...
Oh, there is a Linux version.
That's what you're going to want to be using, because that is the most stable version in all of this. Now, of course, Bloodborne, you were able to go to the actions over here and just download the Windows QT version.
So it's not a build of the Linux stuff.
All of the actual, user, the GUI that you would need. There's also Linux as well if you needed it.
Is this the CSGO of Linux Proton for What does that mean? Is this the CSGO of Linux Proton for emulators? Is this the CSGO... What? What does that... Explain to me what you're saying. Is this the CSGO of Linux Proton for emulator? My understanding is Shad PS4 is like a translation layer as opposed to like full emulation, because the PS4 is an x86 console, so you don't have to emulate the hardware in the same sense. Yeah. You don't... Unlike PS3 is like this weird cell architecture, you have to like actually make it function like the cell architecture. They do weird things with their graphics memory as well. Same with like a lot of the other the older consoles as well. My understanding is this one is just like a translation layer similar to Wine, similar to Proton. Obviously a bit more complex, so the hardware is different in some ways, but it's mostly similar, unlike older stuff.
I'm just going to be using the Windows version.
Oh, back in the day we were focusing on CSGO performance. I see.
It's going to ask you
yes, in that way Bloodborne is like it.
Directories to be. Now, this
how's
is
the volume level, by the way?
Directory that works out of the box, but there's a couple things that you'll want to be doing. So first things first, when you've actually installed Bloodborne to your Shad PS4 system, like so, basically if you have a package file or you're able to back up the package or dump the game, in whatever fashion, you can basically go to File, install
dump
packages,
the game.
and install
that's what you're going to do, for sure.
CUSA 03173, and this is the most up-to-date version of Bloodborne, 1.09. Now, there's a couple things you have to do that are a little bit different. You have to, first off, delete a couple of files. And that's as simple as going right-clicking, opening the game folder, and basically going all the way to DVD root PS4. And I believe, if you can just follow exactly what I'm showing over here, I think it's the param def. Right. And then in the param def folder, delete everything except for param def.
When it comes to dumping PS4 games, I actually have no idea how that works. Like, because don't PS4 games also have, like, DRM on them? Or is that, like, a game-by-game thing? I have not looked at all into PS4 dumping.
.paramdefbnd.dcx. Now, once that's effectively done over here, it's a matter of also using your actual PS4 libraries, in order to better emulate this project. Now, what Shad PS4 does is it also has its own libraries, but you get better compatibility if you use, system libraries from an actual PlayStation 4.
Right, so basically dumping firmware like some of the other consoles.
I have an actual hacked 11.0 PlayStation.
Oh, look at that PS2 behind it. Look at Mutaha. What have you been doing to this PS2? What are these what are these spots on it?
Hacked
it's been freaky with the PS2.
PlayStation 4 that I was able to fire up, get it jailbroken.
Too much fun, apparently. Apparently so.
FTP and just download the required files, which were around like 200 megabytes, from my actual device. By getting those files, I was able to go to the Shat PS4 directory, go to the User tab, and go to Sys Modules, and just copy and paste them all into here. So all these SPRX and SL files are all from my actual PlayStation 4. Now, I can't distribute these files because...
Yeah, but give it enough time. Like, when you want to get, like, actually, PS3 firmware, they provide it on the website. But, like, PS2 firmware you can find online. Like, there will be a point in the relatively near future where all of this is just being distributed just all over the internet. Assuming the companies don't continue cracking down on stuff. Yo, Richie, how's it going? I know there's been some, like, ROM sites getting shut down recently, so we'll see how that goes in a couple of years.
That would be piracy, and I don't recommend that you illegally download. If you have a hacked PlayStation 4,
don't do that.
Rip it from there.
Piracy's bad.
Once all of that is effectively done, now we can get to the fun shit, ladies and gentlemen, which is play some Bloodborne on PC. So we're going to double click this, and you can see there's actually, stuff happening. But if you look very carefully, I got a gray screen, and boom, Sony Computer Entertainment. Now, I played a little bit just so I could actually, see the game was functioning. And I didn't want to just play something for like 3 seconds and have the game crash. It wouldn't be an exciting video. So here it is. The game is giving me an actual intro. So it's fixed. And mind you, we're going to play like actual dog cheeks. Because the way that this emulator works is it doesn't actually have built-in controller support.
Okay.
But if you have Steam, I'm sure you can route this through Steam as a non-Steam game, and then use Steam's like I think it's the Steam input functionality, and just route a PlayStation controller or anything, and just map the keys right there. I can't do it because I'm in a virtual machine, so I can't really connect any controllers for some reason.
No, you could. Well, you definitely could. You could send the USB device into the virtual machine. He just doesn't want to do it. Like, he knows how he can do it, and I'm 100% certain he can do it. He just doesn't want to.
Which isn't really the end of the world here. But right now, all right, there is basically a controller library. So right over here, you can see that they've actually gave them some maps. So WASD is left, the left analog. IKJL is the right analog. And of course, numpad is your face button.
Oh God!
And
yeah, I'm sure this is gonna go well for you.
So let's just hit X.
Wait. So it doesn't have mouse control either. You have to control it fully with the keyboard.
And if we go down, you can see that it actually has a save file that I've made. So I'm gonna load this up, and it's loading. And you can basically see in the left side that there's a bunch of warnings, but it actually loads up the game. So there's no sound, clearly.
There's a lot of stuff that's not being rendered correctly. Obviously, lighting's not being rendered correctly. Player model's not being rendered correctly. Skybox is not being rendered correctly. But, like, the fact that this is starting... And, like, the fact that this is starting without a red filter... It's actually rendering color. It's just not rendering all of the effects on top of it. The fact that this is happening is absolutely wild.
All right, look, baby.
And I'm pretty sure with 2D games, don't 2D games basically work now? Because I remember someone testing Shovel Knight a while back, and Shovel Knight was in like a fairly good state. I think 2D games by this point probably should be close to pretty much playable from my understanding. Probably not perfect. There's probably still a lot of effects that aren't being rendered, but they should definitely be playable.
Steps, okay? Baby steps. The fact that we're here is already mind-blowing. So you got some lighting issues. where it seems like the sun is directly behind us. Now, some of the effects won't load up. Like, I believe there's supposed to be mist in this area if you play it on an actual PlayStation 4. But given the fact that we're on a emulator, some 3D effects will not be rendering. Now, if you look at the frame rate, it goes from like 5 frames all the way to like 30, especially if you look down or we look straight up. It's actually running at a full 30 frames per second.
Impressive.
So again, nothing in this situation has anything to do with my hardware. Even if you have like the most top-of-the-line stuff, because it's early-stage emulation, there's probably other reasons why.
Well, it'll run worse with bad hardware.
Obviously, the doll here is abandoned, so we're actually going to go to the first area and load up the first floor sick room. Now, the game initially crashed for me when I was here. There was like one error that I had, but it seems like things are loading in pretty well. You can see the loading indicator of the top right still functioning. And of course, here we're at Iosefka's clinic.
So it seems like all the HUD stuff, all the 2D stuff, that's being rendered correctly. Like from what I can tell here, that looks like the UI that I would expect. The Chromebook might get crisp from this. I don't think it would start on the Chromebook. Well, Bloodborne, actually no, it wouldn't, because the game's too big for the hard drive.
So I think there might actually be some audio that's playing. I think there is actually audio that's playing. So here it is. The game is actually working in like the nightmare world. Like, look at it, dude. It's like, it's not loading in things really well, but guys, I'm blown away. Like, I'm actually really blown away by this. Like, the fact that we're here, we're actually playing the game. So here I'm going to highlight the enemy. And I think
all the 2D stuff seems to be good
here. And boy, I'm going to try fighting this guy on a fucking keyboard.
He's playing much better than I would have expected. Much better than I would.
Old school DOS games right now, dude. So R1, I think, is like used. So I think maybe. Okay. I got this.
No, you don't.
It's actually somewhat easier to play when you've got like. It's actually a lot easier to kind of play when you've got like a sixth of the frame rate, because you're able to do the dodging a lot better.
I don't believe you at all.
You can't do it, dude. I'm actually. Am I gonna get my first kill?
No.
Bloodborne emulator. Jesus Christ!
If he kills this at 3 FPS with his fists.
Yep, and I actually don't think I have the weapon equipped. Hold on, I gotta equip. Wait. There it is. There, I didn't have the weapon equipped the entire time. I'm a complete fucking buffoon.
Is he playing?
So I can't heal.
Is he playing in slow-mo? No, this is the game running on PC on emulation. This is how it runs right now. But it runs! It runs! Which is not what we could have said a couple months ago.
Got nothing to do heal-wise, so let me actually try going in closer. But what's insane is it's functioning.
Yes.
You know, it is actually functioning. It might not be as fast as I wanted,
no?
But the fact that we're even here is already a crazy good sign.
That frame rate!
So this is running with the Vulkan renderer, which...
Slap the booty.
There it is. Maybe if I, like, look really down right now...
Oh!
It actually doesn't even help. This is as far as down. Oh! Woo!
Oh, that was so close! He almost got it!
Right there. I think it might have actually crashed. Look at that. Linker, CPP, thread management. So actually, the game crashed anytime I died, I think. Because the first time it crashed was when I died to this boss. And that's when in the game you get sent to the Hunter's Dream.
0 death run. Right now you have to play the game without dying or it crashes. Okay, well, we know what that means. There are people out there that have done this plenty of times before. Yeah, this is not good. You don't want to see this happening. You don't want to see Malok complaining that that things are going bad.
So here it says linker CCP initial. Okay, so it's crashed, and I guess all we can really do is just kill the emulator right now. So let's go. Let's actually destroy it. So here you can see that it's using 8.4 gigabytes of memory.
No, Muda, we can't because you've cropped the screen wrong.
Right now? So it is definitely a chomping boy. It is definitely chewing down on my system resources. But let's fire it up again and see if we can beat this boss. And based on the save system
Boss.
for Bloodborne,
Boss, also known as the first enemy in the game.
I should actually be able to connect where I'm at. So it said right here, failure to exit may result in loss of progress.
Wow, it actually remembers that.
But yeah, I think dying
Wait,
causes the
right,
game
so
to
saves
actually
work. Yeah, of
crash.
course.
So maybe it might actually be playable if you're willing
It's
to
the
play in
PC
this
boss.
decrepit fashion and not die.
Someone's
This
gonna
could
do
actually
it.
even be a run.
I
The
guarantee
Bloodborne,
it.
Emulator 0.20 build. Okay, so here we're at Iosefka's clinic.
She's fucking...
So we're gonna just
This
scroll down.
terminal
Now,
over
of
here
course,
is
you can see that I've
freaking out.
got 10% of my actual CPU being used, and around 40% of my GPU basically being consumed. Now this is running at 720p. There's no enhancements to the visuals. There's no 60 FPS patch. I'm sure that you can go into the emulator and up the actual performance. We'll see some of the settings closer on as I beat this boss and actually leave the area.
I think there are people that have tweaked it to make it work a little bit nicer. In 10 years, we might run this on a smart fridge. That's the crazy thing, right? Like, this right here, the way it's running, this is the worst it is ever going to be. Now that we can play 3D games, it's only going to get better from here.
Let's tag him real quick and let's go in for a
Smack
kill.
the booty.
Hopefully actually win this time. So I think it's you. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Okay. He's doing better than I did the first time I fought this.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it just gave up.
I did it, dude.
It just fuck you.
Did, blood echoes retrieved. Woo! God damn. All right, searching for some
Fuck
blood
you.
vials. Now I got some heals going on, and first I actually have to try to leave the area. So point is, look downwards.
Always
this is really,
look down.
Tapping in my back in the day when I didn't have like a good computer at all. Sometimes you would have to actually look down at the ground, particularly
Yeah, I
when you were
remember
playing,
that.
like Half-Life 2, in order to actually get some playable frame rates. But here we are, boys. The world of Yharnam.
Oh, it actually is rendering the character correctly. I thought the character was not being rendered. It was like completely black. No, it was just the lighting was weird in the other area.
It's actually functioning. There is some audio, but I just don't think it's going to be functional. Like, dude, the fact that we're in this state in general is already gorgeous. So let's open up the gate. Maybe get to the first actual...
It looks like Bloodborne PS2.
First actual bonfire. So let's... So the skybox is rendering.
It runs like Bloodborne on the PS2 as well.
In the distance, if you see like right there, some of the lighting is actually working properly.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's impressive that we were here a mere month after looking at this game load up.
Is the console just logging everything, or why is it going This is the emulator just outputting every error it's possibly seeing. It's constantly, by the looks of it, it's constantly trying to compile shaders. It's a very early version of it.
So there's some aspects
all of those reds you're seeing are errors.
Lighting that works. So right there, some of the baked lighting is functioning.
Wow.
But of course, like, it depends on where you stay and how the game loads.
That actually looks. Then it dies.
Is what it is. Obviously, I'm sure a developer from Software could better explain why some things function. Oh shit!
Okay, the enemies don't look like they're rendering correctly.
Okay.
But they're rendering. Okay, no, okay, it is just the lighting being absolutely funky.
Somehow it feels like with the low frame rate, the AI is just, it feels like the game is slightly...
I have a feeling some of the AI is tied to frame rate. I have a feeling it is.
Easier. So let's go over here, activate the device.
I cannot confirm this, but...
Let me actually turn down my speakers. And this should take us to the first actual, grace. So open up. And hold circle to climb a little faster. Aim the camera down. Actually, wait. Actually, aim the camera up because we're rendering more as we climb. Woo! The skybox looks great.
Mostly.
There's so much that actually works here. It's impressive. So, if we light the lamp, we basically made it, by the way, to the first checkpoint in the game.
I do wonder if there's a point in the game where it will crash regardless. Like, maybe you beat a certain boss, a certain game trigger happens, something like that. I have a feeling that there probably is still other crashes besides dying.
Now, if we go to the Hunter's Dream here, all right, return over there, we've basically proven that it is possible to play the introduction to Bloodborne and, yeah, get all the way here. So this is where the game crashes. So if you see right over here, kernel closed.
Okay, so you can't teleport either. So no teleporting and no dying. I have consumed the chicken. Congratulations.
Now, obviously, if we close the entire emulator and fire it up again, you'll see that it still retains the save file. And it
Wait,
still
are there any forced teleports in Bloodborne? It might actually not be playable. I think there might be. It's been a little bit since I played Bloodborne. I think there might be a couple of forced teleports. I think there is. Okay, it might not actually be fully playable then.
Work. Actually, we're not even in the Hunter's Dream. Can I even try?
Is this game like Doom 2? I think we forced it. I don't think there's any forced deaths either. Blood-borked. Blood slightly playable with lots of errors.
Going back into it? Will it just crash if I go to the Hunter's Dream like this? Wait, it is loading.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what necessarily causes this crash. But yeah, to go back to it, when
memory leak, probably. Probably a memory leak.
when I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4, right, on the RPCS3 emulator, there were times where that emulator just randomly crashed. And it still will if you don't have certain patches applied to the single player. But when you play RPCS3 games nowadays, I would say a good chunk of the PlayStation library, a lot of those exclusive games, do function underneath PC.
From my experience,
now, Bloodborne is that holy grail of PlayStation exclusivity that people really want to see. And not just this, but you've got things like PT. Now, from a game preservation perspective,
that one.
This is the only way to really preserve Bloodborne. Now, when I talk about game preservation, I want you to look at it like this. I know that in the past, I've made hyperbolic statements where, hardware, it'll eventually die out, which it does. But PlayStation's, at least PS4s, will still exist, 30 years from now. And PlayStation 5s will as well, which have built-in, hardware backwards compatibility.
Assuming they don't decide to remove that like they did in... Remember did any of you have a, original PS3? The ones that actually had built-in PS2 hardware? Because I wouldn't be surprised if sometime down the line, Sony's like, hey, we're going to remove this functionality. Hey, let's just remove it. You don't need this anymore. No. I didn't have one of the early ones, but I do know people that did. I just got into PS3 emulation.
You can just put in a Bloodborne disc, no internet required, and still play a game. But again, the more complex these systems become, the more hard they are to repair down the road. Or if your Blu-ray drive fails...
I just noticed, Mudaha has a mic here. He also has a mic here. What is he actually recording with? Is the mic here just so there's a mic in the frame, but he's actually recording with the lav? Wait a second. Oh, okay, sure. Imagine if the PS5 Pro adds it's called stereo. Yes, that's how stereo audio works. What if he's using both mics? It might just be a backup. It very possibly is. Or maybe this mic's here for where he looks at his PC or something. I don't know. And he just doesn't take it off for these shots. Probably getting both audio sources, so if something happens to one, it's still getting audio. Very possibly. Speaking of game preservation, I kind of want From Software to release AC For Honor on PC. I'm guessing it's only PS... Wait, what? Or is it Xbox? What did For Honor release on?
It may be near impossible without online servers that
consoles?
will not always be active to reconnect and have a physical media always present for these systems. And that's why with emulation like this, you can at least make sure that no matter what system you have, you can download a program, use your copy of the game, and play something down the road. Because Bloodborne is such a good game that, yeah, 20 years from now, people
Dyslexic,
are obviously
true.
going to be playing this game, okay? It's going to be like Chrono Trigger.
Oh, re-release for
It's a
PC.
timeless adventure. Now,
Wait.
obviously, this
What do you mean
poses
re-release?
another thing. As this emulator matures, this is the only way
Is it not available for
that
sale?
people are really in the mainstream going to be using things
confused.
like randomizers or modding tools. Because not everyone's going to have access to a jailbroken PS4 or a PS5. And this is where, like, again, the real beauty of emulation, in my opinion, comes out.
Does it for honor? Whatever. France, whatever. You know what we're talking about. I had an original PS3, I had a Blu-ray drive that died around the time GTA 5 came out. They could play. Oh, that's rough. Oh, man.
The best online multiplayer fronts, which is Metal Gear Online 2, the only real way to get to it is using a hacked PlayStation 3, or I think you can use a modded PlayStation.
One day I'll play some of the Metal Gear games.
You can just change DNS settings. But typically, most people will just download a customized fork of the PlayStation 3 emulator and just connect to custom servers and play the game on PC. And obviously,
one day
I've never played. Exist on PC
the only Metal Gear game I've played is Rising. I have only played Rising Revengeance, which very much bothers Metal Gear fans when I bring this up.
More optimized, you come across things like graphical enhancements, keyboard and mouse usage. So realistically, this might be the only way that we're ever going to get a PC port of Bloodborne, even if it is this unofficial emulator way. And the fact that the PlayStation 4 emulator is so performant right now, in my opinion, is a pretty good look. You know, down the road, I don't think you'll need crazy things. I've seen people emulate some 3D titles on a Steam Deck with Shat PS4, which is already a really good
say that again?
Titles, I don't think you'll need crazy things. I've seen people emulate some 3D titles on a Steam Deck with Shat PS4, which is already
must be some of the lighter ones then, some of like the indie titles.
A really good sign. But honestly, when
Rising
you want to look
fun.
at the innards of emulators, there's only one channel that I would recommend, and that would be my friend MVG. So obviously for now,
how? It's probably running terribly.
Now, Bloodborne is running on a PC. There's no doubt about it. And maybe a year down the road, we might actually be going back to Yarnum, not on a PlayStation system, but in an emulator like this with
very
full
exciting
60 frames, maybe 120. Who fucking knows? Any controller you want and some graphical enhancements to boot. And if I'm God willing, maybe even, thank God, some ultra-wide support. Because look, Sony doesn't give a shit, but guess what? The Bloodborne community and the PC community do. And those are the people that are keeping Yarnum not just in a dream, but well into a reality. Anyways, that being said, all the sappy shit aside, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
What is my recommended? Oh, before you buy Concord. That was a good video. I'm not subbed to Mutaha because this is my second channel, but I am subbed to my main channel. I assume all of you are aware of Mutaha. I don't need to share the video, but you here you go. I am really excited. Not for Bloodborne, right? I frankly don't care about Bloodborne, but the fact that PS4 emulation is getting really, really good. I have a PS5. I can play PS4 games, but there's going to be a point where it'll just run better. It will just run better on PC. You know what's a good recommendation? This video. The professional vape tester video. I am excited to see where this goes because, look, I want it to be easy for people to play games they want to play. I don't like console exclusives. I've made this clear for a very long time. I want people to be able to play on the things that they want to be able to play on. And emulation is the only way that's really going to happen. Yeah, some big titles do get released on PC, sure, but there's a lot of stuff where it just wasn't going to happen otherwise. Mutahar at the crossroad of normies and based. Also, console exclusive makes it where the game has to be really successful or not financially good. Yeah, that's also true. Oh, actually, speaking of PC releases, FF16 is now on PC, so if you didn't get a chance to play that, like a year ago now, you can go and play it. Now, if only we could make Nintendo exclusives irrelevant, Yeah, that's true. Because Nintendo's the only company right now, at least, that's actually going after emulation. Actually, I think Sony did go after one of the ROM sites, now that I think about it, like recently. In the past, they've done a lot more of it, but Nintendo's the one that's going like real hard on the others. They're good at keeping consoles relevant. Well, the thing with Nintendo is they're also good at making unique consoles, right? Like, the Wii is a different thing than anything else. The Wii U, the same sense. Switch, very much in a similar case as well. Not like when you're just holding it like a Steam Deck, but like having the Switch controllers. Sony killed one of the oldest ROM sites. Yeah. So Sony's definitely not like out of the woodworks. The only one that, honestly, the only one I think that we can say is just like, and I don't want to say this because of the Linux stuff, right? But the only game company I think that's actually good for the gamer is Microsoft, because they remembered they own Windows. Like, that's the only reason why. Because all of their games get released on PC now, because it took them a while to remember, oh wait, we also own Windows. Holy shit, we could just sell the games on our other thing that we own. I don't know how it took them so long to remember this. I'm the only innocent developer because I've never taken down anything. RIP control panel. True, RIP control panel. Plus, Microsoft allows Xbox emulators on GitHub. Well, the situation with the Switch emulator, there's like a lot of weird stuff with that. It wasn't just it being an emulator. It was a lot of like, it was the way they were operating their Discord, some of the patches they were offering, the Patreon, things like that. Would be funny if Microsoft someday forgets about Windows, just doesn't release a new OS. Yes, it would be.